We're in a new month. That happened really fast, didn't it? Good grief. Spirit was calling last month. Now we're in a whole new month, a whole new theme, celebrating diversity. Yes, we love that. And today's talk is all for one. Yay, all for one. Next week it's going to be one for all. But today it's all for one. And you know, the truth that everything is one is not debatable. That's truth. It's not an alternative fact. It's a truth. Ernest Holmes in Love and Law, he said this: there is one, not two. Never forget that. Anywhere in the universe, just one. That one life is the substance of everything. It is one in unity, but multiple in manifestation. It is one substance from which an infinite variety of different things come. But every one of those things is made of the same thing. So that's it, you know? What we know and what we learned in high school physics, right, is that everything's energy. Everything is energy. Okay, so we're calling it spirit. We're coming into the same room through different doors. There's the physicists and the theologists and the theologians and the scientists, and we're all entering into the same place, but we're coming from different doors. We are just energy. The trees are just energy. The ocean is just energy. Everything around us and through us and around us and as us is just energy. Our bodies are made of 9 systems, right? Circulatory, digestive, endocrine, muscular, nervous, reproductive, respiratory, skeletal, and urinary. 9 systems, that's it. Those systems are made up of organs and tissues. Those organs and tissues are made up of cells. Those cells are made up of molecules, which are made up of atoms, which are made up of subatomic particles, which are energy. Really, this is what it comes down to. It's energy. We are fantastic bundles of energy vibrating at a level, at frequency, and those electrons are constantly popping into and out of existence as us. We are pure potential, nothing else. We are a marvel of engineering. This is scientific and this is proven. And what is true for our bodies is true for everything in the manifest universe. Everything is pure potential. Everything is just electrons popping into and out of existence. Everything is just energy vibrating at its own frequency. Everything is made out of energy. Niels Bohr, who was a Danish physicist, he won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1922, and he said this: if quantum mechanics hasn't profoundly shocked you, you haven't understood it yet. Everything we call real is made of things that cannot be regarded as real. So everything is made of the same thing. Everything is made of the same thing, and it's energy. So really, all we are is potential, just vibrating at different levels. That's it. Interconnected with everything else, because everything else is energy. We're just these balls of energy just wandering around, bouncing off of each other. And that energy is universal intelligence. That's all it is. It's the same energy that runs the universe, that planted the stars in the sky and the planets in their orbits and is creating and destroying galaxies as we speak. That same energy, that is the energy that's beating your heart and breathing your breath. This is universal intelligence. One mind, one life, whatever you want to call it. You want to call it energy, you want to call it source, you want to call it universal intelligence, you want to call it the big enchilada. Whatever you want to call it, it is one. It is one unifying thing, one energy, one source, and we are that. And we are just a thread in that tapestry. Richard Conn Henry, who is a professor of physics and astronomy at Johns Hopkins University, said, "Get over it and accept the inarguable conclusion. The universe is immaterial. It is mental and it is spiritual." That's it. And of course, this is what the mystics have been telling us all along, right? For thousands and thousands of years. The mystics, the saints, the sages throughout all the ages, the philosophers, they've all said the same thing. Thankfully, there's only one. There is only one. We partake of it. In our little brief moment of time on the earth, we partake of this energy and we allow it to flow through us and as us into the world. But there is only one life, one love, one energy. And on the surface, look around. Are we not beautiful? Holy moly, look at the diversity. On the surface, it's just grand and great and glorious that we are showing up as all different colors and sizes and shapes and ideas and thoughts and beliefs. We are a multitude, but at the base, we are one. You know, we look different from each other. We are individualized expressions. Ernest Holmes says we're not individuals. We're individualized expressions of the one life of God. And R.C. Henry in The Mental Universe said this. He said, physicists are being forced to admit the universe is mental. It is a mental construction. Pioneering physicists Sir James Jeans wrote this: the stream of knowledge is headed toward a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than a great machine. Isn't that lovely? We knew this all along. Mind no longer appears to be an accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We ought to rather hail it as the creator and the governor of the realm of matter. So that age-old question that the philosophers used to wrestle with, when did matter become conscious, or when did consciousness enter matter? Maybe it's been there all along. Maybe that matter is consciousness and consciousness is matter, and there is no place where one entered the other, but that the universe is a conscious system. Mind makes our world. Ernest Holmes said that. Mind makes our world. There is one mind, and we are infinite outpicturings of it. And so when you look around and you look at all the diversity, it's just amazing. And when we look at life that way, what's good for us, what's good for one, is good for all, is it not? There's only one life. So if I'm mean to somebody else, I'm really mean to myself. There is no out there. There is no something else. Spirit calls and spirit answers. So here we are in this field of infinite potential. And the field of infinite potential is just that. It is infinite. It contains everything. It contains the things you want, the things you want to demonstrate. It contains the things you don't want. It contains the things you love. It contains the things you fear. This field of infinite potential, it contains everything. Everything we want, we don't want, we love, we hate, we fear, we're running from, we're running toward. It's all there. It's all in this field of infinite potential, and so are we. We can't be separate and apart from it. We're part of it. So we pray for something, don't we? Anybody here pray? Okay. So we pray for things, right? We pray for something. We're coming at it the wrong way, clearly. Because to pray for something indicates we don't have it. We're looking for it. We're wanting it. We're desiring it. We're lusting after it. We're saying we don't have it. When we pray for something, it immediately implies we don't have the thing that we desire. But since it's all there, everything is in this field of infinite potential. Everything is there, and we are immersed in it. We already have that or are that. On some level. Get it? Yeah, isn't that interesting? Weird. Okay. So this is why we pray things. We don't pray for things, because when we pray for things, again, that underlying thought, that underlying belief that it's not there. You know, and Greg Braden, did anybody read The Isaiah Effect? It was a great book. Yes. Okay, one person. Anyway, The Isaiah Effect. He related a story about his friend David, who is a shaman in New Mexico. And he explained that they had one of the worst droughts that they'd ever had there. And he and David were driving in the car, and they stopped at this sacred space for Native Americans, and it was a beautiful prayer circle in the ground, and David said he was going to pray rain. And Greg Baden said, "Oh, you're going to pray for rain?" He said, "No, I'm going to pray rain." And they stopped, and David went into the circle, and he prayed the circle, and then he came back out. He goes, "Well, okay, that's done. Let's go to town," And Greg was like, "That's it? Like that's it? You didn't say anything?" He's like, "No, it's just done." And so then it did start to rain, by the way. The end of that story was, and then it started to rain, and then it didn't stop, and it rained for days. And certain things got flooded out, and the streets were starting to get a little inundated. And Greg Braden was on the phone with David, and he said, "That prayer, it's really raining now, and kind of some of the roads are getting washed out." And David said, "Yeah, that's the funny thing about the prayer. I haven't quite got that part figured out yet." But he didn't pray for rain, because that would imply that there's no rain. So he prayed rain. And what he said was so beautiful. He said he walked around the prayer circle, and he felt what it felt like when the ground was all wet and muddy and the mud squished between his toes. And he felt what the rain would feel like falling on his face and on his skin. And he smelled the ozone in the air, that fresh smell when the rain is coming down. And he immersed himself in the feelingness of rain. He prayed rain. And that's why we pray in the present tense, isn't it? When we do affirmative prayer, we know it is. We pray as if. And this is how we teach the 5 steps of affirmative prayer. We pray as if. Because we know that somewhere in this field of infinite potential that we're standing in, it is there. It's there somewhere. It may not be right here in my little circle of exposure where I am, but I know it's there. And so I pray that I know that it's there. And sure enough, it shows up someplace, somewhere in my environment. Ernest Holmes said this. He said, "Since God is everywhere, and since this subtle essence of the infinite is invisible, we don't have to search out for the divine spirit, but rather we recognize it as the center of all life. That which we see is merely a reflection of this invisible presence. Spirit itself cannot be seen, but it is felt. Just as we do not see the essence of beauty, but we feel its presence. Just as we don't see God, but we do feel the divine in everything. The Creator is revealed in its creation. The formless gives rise to the form. We should consciously unite ourselves with this invisible essence which pervades everything." Now he says consciously unite ourselves. We are always united with one. We are that. It is the only truth of us, but that we are energy. So it's not so much we have to unite with it, we have to consciously recognize we are already that. We are already connected. We don't have to connect to source. We are connected. We are source. We have to stand in the truth that there is no separation. So it is all for one. All for one. Like I said, next week is one for all. So we won't even go there. But we are all of the one source. We are one with universal intelligence, and we are one with each other. So look around the room. We are all different. Look at different hair colors and skin colors, and some with glasses and some without, and we're just a marvel of unique and individual expressions. And yet we are all the same. And we all come from the same source. And that energy that is expressing you absolutely perfectly. You are the perfect you. Nobody else can be you like you are you. You're the perfect you. Energy is expressing perfectly as you. Energy is expressing perfectly as me. I'm being me. And it's beautiful and it's individual, and we are individualized. The same energy that is expressing me is expressing you as you, and doing it perfectly. So sometimes it seems absurd, doesn't it? Sometimes it seems absurd that we get so hooked by each other. Don't we? It's like so weird when we think about the fact that we are all one. We're all from the same source. We're all, one at the base, that we do get hooked and we do get riled and we do bump up against each other and get hooked by each other. We accuse each other of things. We get angry with each other. We say things. There's a for and against and all that kind of stuff. When pretty much we're all doing life as best we can. And we bump up against each other, and, if we stop judging each other, we could love each other better. I think, it's coming to me. Thank you. Mother Teresa. Yes, thank you. Mother Teresa, the wisdom from the back of the room. The one life from the back of the room speaks up. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. That's what she said. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. So before we accuse people, before we start assigning some negative attribute to them or behavior, they did this to us or they did that to us or whatever, they lied to us or they hurt our feelings or they were mean to us, what we need to do is check ourselves. Check yourself. Go within. Go within. And there are some questions we can ask before we blame people, places, and things outside and around us for their unskilled behavior, and we're really good at doing that, boy, let me tell you. We need to go inside and we need to ask a couple of questions first. What button was that just got pushed? Why am I feeling what I'm feeling? Where is that coming from? How is it I'm perceiving myself as unfairly treated? Where does that come from? What is the truth here in this particular condition? And what is the higher truth that wants to make itself be known through this event, through this condition, through this situation? Those are the questions we ought to be asking. Not, how dare you do that to me, or whatever, but why am I so hooked by that? That's our first question. Why am I so hooked by that? And how would life be if I weren't? How would my life be if I weren't hooked by what somebody else says or does or is? You know, remembering our oneness, remembering that we are individualized expressions of the same life, man, it takes the heat off of life, doesn't it? Remembering dissolves away the hurt and the jealousy and the greed and the envy and the judgment and the condemnation and all the stuff that we hang out there on other people. It takes it all away when we realize we are the other people. When we realize the oneness of all life, we're hanging those things on ourselves. We might as well just look in the mirror and go, where am I withholding love? Where am I being deceitful? Where am I being mean to someone? Right? Because there's only one life. So we're hanging this stuff on ourselves. Can we know our oneness and our diversity at the same time? Oh, yes. Oh, come on, give me an oh, hell yes. Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. We can meet and greet each other knowing we are one and celebrating the divine differences. You know, there's an old saying about, oh, we see each other's differences, and then we get to know them, and then we don't see the differences anymore, and then there are no differences, and that's just such BS. You know, belief system, okay? I'm being good. Belief system. Because here's the deal. We don't want to not see the differences. I don't want to look out on a bland world where we're all the same. I want to see and celebrate the differences. I want to celebrate the differences in all of us. So yeah, I want to see them. I want to see the divine diversity. I want to see how Spirit is showing up as you and me and everybody else, and I want to celebrate it. When we meet each other, knowing we are one, knowing we are made of the same stuff, knowing we are all travelers on this same path, we don't hold anything against anybody. There's nothing to hold against anybody because we are that. Because we are that. There's nothing. It's like the thumb being angry at a finger for not being opposable. You know? It doesn't make sense. We're both joined at the hand, right? They're both joined at the hand. They're both appendages of the same body. And that is us. We are all appendages of the same body. Each and every one of us, a unique wave coming up from the same ocean. We are a unique life, an individualized expression of Spirit, but the one Spirit. We are all that. We are one. We have to remember. We're all united. We're all one. Individualized, yes. Unique, absolutely. No one else is going to do you like you can do it. But at the root, at the base, we are one. Ernest Holmes said this: the Spirit of God is an undivided and indivisible wholeness. It fills all time with its presence and all space with the activity of its thought. Everyone is an incarnation of God, a unique incarnation, all rooted in the one life. Your endeavor, then, is not so much to find God as it is to realize God's presence and to understand that this presence is always with you, always in you, always as you. Nothing can be nearer to you than that which is the very essence of your being. Your outward search culminates in the greatest of all possible discoveries, finding God at the center of your own being. Life flows up from within you. You are a demonstration of the beloved. You are a demonstration of the beloved, and so is everyone else on earth. We are all sharing in that one life of God's. It is whole, it is perfect, it is complete, and it's each and every one of us. We are all for one. We are all of the one. Thank you so much.